Jerry Snyder is hell-bent on getting to the bottom of things. He was as a federal agent for 25 years with the DEA and as an investigator with the National Centers for Missing and Exploited Children. But he wanted to work more than just a few cases every few months. That's why he started Find Me 12 years ago.
The objective at the time was to work on missing children cases.
With the help of retired law enforcement and experts in virtually every field of criminal investigations.
We have linguistics experts, we have handwriting experts, body language experts.
Find Me is committed to doing just that.
Shortly after Isabel went missing, both Mr. and Mrs. Celis contacted me separately and asked if we would get involved in the case.
Separately because at the time, Sergio Celis was asked by authorities to distance himself from his family, particularly his two boys. His daughter had just been abducted from her own bedroom, and an air of suspicion hung heavily over the family.
To clear the air with Sergio and Becky,
this private investigator went to work.
I interviewed them both separately and together, and just so that I had a good, comfortable feeling that neither one of them were involved.
And your conclusions were?
100% not involved.
Interestingly enough, that's exactly what world-renowned psychic Alison Dubois said.
When I went into her room, the first thing I heard was, "It's not my dad."
The moment she entered the Celis home.
I wrote up a profile for the Celis family and, felt it was somebody that was close to them, that knew the layout of the house, and it felt like somebody maybe on the periphery, which can be a cousin or a friend.
As a matter of full disclosure, Jerry Snyder and Alison Dubois did collaborate on this case, but that happened after meeting with the Celises separately and privately on different occasions. Despite the skeptics,
you're trying to find a missing person, whether it's a child or an adult.
Snyder's used about 150 psychics to help find 57 missing persons through his organization.
Best put to me by a New York detective. He says, "I'll take information from the devil as long as I can find this little girl that he was looking for."
Alison Dubois is not part of Find Me, though her findings are eerily similar to Snyder's conclusions.
For me personally, just the fact that he left town within about 5 days after Isabel went missing.
He's talking about the extended family member who promptly left the state and remains uncooperative to this day.
Ships his car to Florida, takes off to Washington to stay with a relative for a period of time. And then the fact that, he doesn't want to talk to the police and just basically gets out of Dodge, to me that was a red flag.
Opening up the case file, Snyder says that relative was with two other people the night Isa went missing. Surveillance from several locations confirmed they were together that night. But there's a 6-hour window between 1:30 and 7:30 a.m. in which the group is unaccounted for. Snyder believes one of the three, a minor, may have gone home after being kicked out of the bar, but two of them stayed together. The Celis relative.
And it's my understanding up until today, he still had a key to their house.
And that friend whom Snyder spoke to face to face.
I didn't believe for 1 second he was being honest with me. He basically didn't admit to anything as far as her abduction, but stated that they were out drinking. 3 people were out drinking that night.
You may also recall the Celis' next-door neighbor who heard something outside her window the night Isa was abducted.
Didn't hear her. I heard, a couple male voices right outside my bedroom window, right outside her bedroom window.
Voices alone aren't any indication of guilt, but it does arouse suspicion at the very least.
I came up with 3 separate individuals that I believe had contact either that night.
Snyder firmly believes at least one of these guys likely played a role in Isa's abduction.
Narrowed it down to at least 2 suspects that possibly took Isabel, but from that point on, we could not determine as to where they took her.
They want answers. Any parent would.
But does TPD buy any of this? If so, they'd never say so publicly.
The problem is, until we have definitive answers ourselves as to what occurred, we keep a lot of our investigative information close to the vest.
All they'll say is it remains a wide open case, and nobody's been cleared of anything.
We have good information. We have credible information we've followed up on, but not enough to take us to court on anything.